Are you hungry? Are you ready for dinner? I've got some great ideas to share with you for the week. Hey friends, welcome back to This Homemade Life. If this is your first time here on my channel, my name is Courtney, and every week I love to share my What's for Dinner videos and my grocery hauls with you guys, and sometimes I sprinkle in some new things like Fun Food Friday or maybe some other around the house videos. This week I filmed dinner for just 3 nights because again we were kind of busy and we had some leftovers, and that's just how things worked out. But I had 4 recipes in total. So on night 1, I shared my salmon recipe. I cooked it in the air fryer. It is so incredible. Of course, you could sub any other fish if you want, our favorite salmon, but I shared a homemade Caesar salad dressing. If you guys have never tried making it from scratch, it is incredible. So much better than the stuff you buy in the bottle. It tastes exactly like what you get when you go to the restaurants, the steak houses, Red Lobster, all that kind of stuff. I also shared Swedish meatballs. Oh my gosh. So I've made Swedish meatballs before. This was my first time using this particular recipe, and this is exactly what I have been searching for. It is so delicious. I will link it down below. Anyway, like I said, a total of 3 nights. There's another recipe in there I think you guys are really going to love. Overall, it was a great week. We had some good meals, and we were incredibly happy with everything I served for dinner. Also, if you are new here, please do me a favor and hit all of those buttons, like the video and subscribe to my channel. I've got a lot of great video ideas I'm trying to put together to share with you guys. In fact, a week from today, you should be seeing my very first ever Extreme Grocery Budget Challenge video. It will include my grocery haul for that budget challenge video, plus the entire week of meals that I made. I've got some great ideas I'm looking forward to sharing with y'all. As always, I do want to thank you all for supporting my channel. It means a lot to me. It is so amazing that you guys show up here and watch all of my videos and comment, and the community that we're building together is just amazing, and I am so grateful for all of you being here every week. All right, let's jump in and take a look at these meals. All right, friends, welcome back to the kitchen. I'm keeping it pretty simple with dinner tonight. I'm gonna cook some salmon in the air fryer. I'll go over that in a minute. I'm probably gonna make some rice to go on the side, and then I was trying to decide what vegetable I wanted to do, and I want a Caesar salad. So last week was my husband's birthday, and we went to dinner at Longhorn Steakhouse, and steakhouses have like the best Caesar salad, right? It is so good. So I decided, okay, I want to make my own, because I think I don't know if they make it themselves or if like they just get some kind of special Caesar dressing, but the stuff in the bottle doesn't taste the same. So I thought, okay, we're going to try this. The thing that's always intimidated me is not the anchovies, the egg. It's got raw egg in it. So I found a recipe that uses mayonnaise instead of raw egg, which is probably not exactly the same, but that's what we are going to do. So let's get started. I will link the recipe down below in the description box if you guys are interested in making this at home, if that's your thing. Like, I love Caesar salad. It is my favorite salad on the planet. I went through a phase a couple years ago where I ate Caesar salad every single day because I love it so much. So I definitely want to try this, and it looks pretty simple. So here we go. Let's get started. All right, I've got a bowl, and you want a deep bowl with good sides and a rounded bottom so you can kind of whisk everything. And then it calls for garlic, 1 clove of garlic. I don't have any regular garlic, so I'm going to use this stuff, which will of course alter the taste. I know, but it's what I've got. I'm going to see if I can mash any, but it's already pretty small, so that's probably like just as small as it's going to get. Okay, so to that we are going to add in a 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. As you can see, I'm not measuring because I don't ever measure. Sorry, that's just how I roll. I'm just going to eyeball what looks like about a 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. That's probably good. I'm going to kind of mix this together to get that garlic infused in that mayonnaise. All right, so to this, we want to add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I don't have a fresh lemon, sadly, so we're gonna go with this stuff. I'm gonna eyeball this too. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and whisk that in. All right, here in a second, I'm probably gonna have to get my actual whisk, I think. All right, let me grab that. And we also need some Dijon mustard, so I need to grab that as well. All right, I'm out of Dijon, so I'm going to substitute a little bit of stone ground mustard. It's close. This is a little bit more powerful in flavor, so it calls for a tablespoon of Dijon. We'll go just a little shy on that. There we go. And then it calls for 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm going to go ahead and mix that in, and then we will whisk. 1, 2. Okay, it calls for a 1/4 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. I'm probably going to go a little bit over that because I feel like that's just not enough. And maybe I'm wrong. I love this flavor though, so I probably went more towards the full teaspoon there. Whisk that in. All right, and then it calls for 2 teaspoons of anchovy paste. So I have this. I picked this up at my local grocery store. I think it was H-E-B. It was like $2. So not bad. I'm pretty sure that you actually have to have this to make Caesar dressing. So don't skimp out on it. Okay, it does call for 2 teaspoons. I don't think I got nearly 2 teaspoons in there, but I'm going to taste it and see if it needs more here in just a minute. Then your last ingredients are salt and pepper and Parmesan cheese. I'm going to skip the salt for now, but I am going to put in pepper, and I really cannot advise this enough. Fresh cracked black pepper is so delicious in this. Whenever I get this at like steakhouses and stuff, it always has lots of cracked black pepper in it. It's in the bigger chunks. That's how you can tell it's the cracked black pepper. And it is just so delicious. All right, before I add the Parmesan, I'm gonna go ahead and taste this. Oh man, that is so good. That is so, so good. I do think it actually does need a little bit more of the anchovy paste. There we go. All right, let's whisk this in. And I am gonna add just a little bit more pepper. You guys know when I use pepper, I always put a lot in there. My family really enjoys fresh cracked black pepper on everything. All right, so this is nice and creamy. I'm gonna go ahead and taste it one more time. I mean, that is fantastic. It's not too strong. It's got great flavors. When I buy this stuff in the bottle, a lot of times it's just overwhelmingly salty, and I don't always enjoy that. The ones I get from the steakhouses are always smooth and creamy. Now I'm going to add in about a tablespoon or so of Parmesan cheese. If you just have the shaker tub stuff, that's fine too. Work with what you have. Mix it all together. And then I will top my Caesar salad, each individual bowl, with some more Parmesan. That's why I only put a little bit in there. It just kind of brings a little extra flavor to the dressing. And that's it. Caesar dressing, that simple, that quick. I'd love to say it's household ingredients, but I don't know if many of us have anchovy paste laying around it. I'm not really sure this is going to work without it. But again, this was not expensive, and you can use it in like pasta sauces and all kinds of stuff. I will try to incorporate a few more recipes with this in the future just to show you guys how to use it up. But I do see people making like different pasta dishes using it all the time. So I know it has uses. I've used it before. Anyway, let's go ahead and work on the air fryer salmon. All right, friends, I have some salmon. I actually had like 2 salmon steaks that look like that, but I need to feed 3 people, so I just divided it up the best that I could. I'm gonna just put a little bit of olive oil, mostly on the skin side, because we are gonna cook these in the air fryer. Typically, when I cook salmon, it's in the oven, but today we're gonna shake things up a little and do it in the air fryer. I've seen a bunch of people doing that, and I want to give it a shot, especially because it's so hot right now, and it means I don't have to turn on my oven. So we're going to go ahead and season these pieces of salmon. I keep it really simple. I'm going to use some salt and pepper, some garlic powder, and lots of dill. And dill is my favorite on salmon, like my absolute favorite. Sometimes I add lemon juice. Today I'm not going to, just because I don't feel like it. But whenever the salmon's done cooking, I may just put a little bit on top. We'll see. And I don't measure, I just season with my heart, I guess. These are the flavors we like. Now, if you have a seasoning blend that you like, maybe a garlic and herb or some sort of grill seasoning, go for it. Use whatever you like. I just think the combination of dill on salmon is amazing. It is so good. They're like best friends and they pair beautifully together. You're squishing your friend there. Sorry, I'm trying to keep them from overlapping, but anyway, I put a lot of dill on mine. So I'm going to put this in a 375 degree air fryer, and I'm going to put it at 10 minutes. If that changes, I'll let you guys know, but that's what I'm thinking for right now. So I've never done this before. Usually I put it in the oven for like 12 minutes or so at 400. My air fryer seems like it gets a little hotter, so we'll try 375 for 10 minutes. All right, friends, there it is. I just made some wild rice on the side, but there is the salmon. It smells amazing. It looks delicious. I'm super excited to eat that. We haven't had salmon in a while. And then that Caesar salad, I topped it with a little more parm and some croutons. And not gonna lie, I even ate a little bit while I was waiting for the salmon. It is so good. If you like a steakhouse or a Red Lobster Caesar salad, this is it. It is so good, way better than the stuff that comes out of the bottle. So delicious. But salmon, rice, and Caesar salad, that is what's for dinner. Happy Tuesday, y'all. It is time for dinner, and as you can see, I must be keeping it pretty simple because there's not much going on. So tonight we are finally going to get around to trying this thick and zesty spaghetti sauce packet mix. I've heard good things. I'm super excited, and I wanted to share it with you guys. I got this at my local grocery store, I think at Walmart. It was not expensive at all. It's supposed to be super delicious. You mix it with water, tomato paste, and boom, you've got pasta sauce. So we're gonna make that. I've got my, right down there, my water's boiling, and then my skillet to make the sauce in. I'm gonna put these guys in the oven in a minute, serve them on the side. And then I didn't have any meat planned for tonight, but I had a couple of these guys hanging out in my fridge. Not enough to do anything with. There was only 4 strips, and I thought, well, I'll heat them up in the air fryer for my oldest and my husband. So those are going to be served on the side of their stuff. I don't want or need any meat with mine. I really just like my pasta with red sauce, plain, nothing else in it. I'm real simple like that sometimes. So that is dinner. I will show you guys how quickly this comes together and or I'll let you know how good it is. So let me get you guys on the tripod and we'll get to cooking. All right, here we go. Welcome to my stovetop. It is time to cook. So the little package says to start off with some oil or butter in the skillet, and then we're gonna add in the other things, which would be the tomato paste and water and the seasoning packet. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this oil heating up just a little bit. There we go. While I open this can of tomato paste. All right, I open my tomato paste. We're gonna add that in. I do have my pasta already in the water now. I had to stop and put that in because I realized it was at a very rolling boil. It was ready for me, which is awesome because let me tell you, we're hungry, especially me. It was park day with one of our homeschool groups today, and so we were at the park for quite some time, and it was hot, but it was fun. Kiba, no. But now we're hungry. Okay, so if I understand, the idea is to break down the tomato paste into the water. And that is what makes the tomato base of our sauce. And then this zesty packet, this thick and zesty packet, is where all the flavor is. All right, I'm gonna keep whisking this till all the lumps and clumps are gone. I know this looks really watery right now, but tomato paste is a thickener, and then this sauce says it's thick and zesty, so I'm gonna guess it will also thicken this as it heats through. I do need to stop for just a second and stir my noodles. All right, if you're wondering, that is what it looks like. I don't know what I was expecting. That wasn't necessarily it, but it smells really good. So I'm super excited to see how this turns out. It almost smells like there's Italian dressing mix in it or something. It reminds me of when you open the packet dressing mix to make Italian dressing. It reminds me of how that smells. So I'm just gonna whisk this in to make sure that it gets all broken up. Again, no lumps, no clumps, and I'm gonna turn the heat down to low and let it just simmer for a few minutes. It's already thickening up quite a bit, way more than I would have anticipated. So we're gonna be good, no problems. But anyway, just let this simmer for a few minutes. Finish cooking the pasta, garlic knots are in the fridge, and dinner will be served. All right, guys, there it is. The sauce is a little, I guess like a little thin, but it tastes so good. I mean, like I really, really, really like it quite a bit. And I am certain if we chop up those chicken tenders and mix them in, it's gonna taste like chicken parm. And of course, some garlic knots on the side, but that's it. That is dinner tonight. It was quick and simple. It took me, I think 35 minutes, I think. Not bad at all. And like I said, the sauce tastes amazing. So if you guys see this at your store, give it a shot. It's easy and it's good. Hey friends, welcome to another night of dinners. Tonight we are having Swedish meatballs. So just a disclaimer, I have never been to IKEA. I hear they have the best Swedish meatballs, but I would not know, sadly. I don't live anywhere near one. Maybe next time we head down to San Antonio for vacation or something, or I'll see if they have one next time we're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Maybe I'll stop by, I don't know. But as for today, I'm just gonna make a recipe that I found on Pinterest. So my only Swedish meatball experience comes from like a Frozen TV dinner when I was a kid, but I actually really liked it. I mean, I liked it a lot. So hopefully this tastes pretty similar. I'm kind of lacking a couple of ingredients, but I think it's gonna be okay. This calls for a mix of ground chicken and ground chuck, and all I have is ground beef, but I think that'll be all right. We'll live, we'll survive. So it says to start off, we need to mix together breadcrumbs, milk, cream, an egg, salt, pepper, allspice, nutmeg, and parsley, which I also do not have. I thought I had dried parsley, but I don't have that either. Anyway, we're gonna mix that all together and then set it to the side so the milk can kind of soak up the breadcrumbs. So we need 1/3 cup of breadcrumbs. I don't know if you're supposed to have like really high quality or make your own, but I'm just using these because it's what I always keep in my pantry. And it calls for 1/3 cup. So I pulled out the wrong size measure. There we go. Here we go. 1/3 cup. There we go. So I put that in, and then it says you need to add 1/2 cup of milk plus 2 tablespoons of cream. I'm just guessing that's like heavy cream. It just says cream. So hopefully heavy cream is what they mean, because that's what I have. So 1/2 cup of milk. This seems like so much for these breadcrumbs because they're kind of fine and they soak up liquid really, really well. But I don't want to mess this up, so I'm going to follow the instructions. And it says 2 tablespoons of cream. I'm just going to eyeball that. Got a little heavy on that first one. There we go. And then 1 egg, which I have right here. Oh, I got a piece of shell in there. Of course I did. There we go. Did I drop it again? Okay, we're shell free. Yay. Then I need to mix this up. Get that egg kind of beaten a little bit. There we go. And then we need to add, let's see, salt, pepper, allspice, and nutmeg. I'll start with the pepper. I'm going to go a little heavy on this. You guys know how I roll. We really like pepper. There we go. And then it says we need some salt, which I have right here. And how much is it? 1/2 teaspoon. Oh, that sounds like a lot. I'm just going to go a little light on it. All right, our salt. Then we need 1/4 teaspoon of allspice and 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. So here is my nutmeg. I don't have my measuring spoons out for this, but I think it'll be okay. About 1/4 teaspoon. then a 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. Having a harder time getting this one out. There we go. Ooh, this smells so good already. Okay, I'm going to mix this all together, and yeah, those breadcrumbs are definitely already soaking stuff up because it has thickened a lot just from when I mixed it the first time. All right, then it says we set this off to the side. Okay. All right, we've changed location. It does say to go ahead and get some onion and some garlic sauteing. So it says to mince up half of a yellow onion. I had a small white onion and it really needed to be used. So I went ahead and did the whole thing. So it's probably a little heavy on the onion, but I think it's gonna be okay. And it says you add butter and oil into the skillet. So I'm going to do that. I need to get a knife for my butter real quick. Okay, there we go. Butter and oil in the skillet. I'm going to let that heat up for a second, and then I'm going to toss in my onion, and we're going to saute that until, it says until it's translucent. So we're going to saute it for a little bit. I'm going to guess probably about 5 minutes. All right, so the onions have been cooking for a little while. They are translucent. They even got a little color because I wandered away for a second because real life and kids. Anyway, they're fine. We're gonna add in a little bit of garlic. I think it calls for 1 clove of garlic minced. Yeah, 1 clove of garlic minced. You guys know how I roll. I've just got this stuff in the container, so I'm going to try to stay close to the 1 clove because I know when I've eaten these in the past, they were not super over the top garlicky. So we'll add that in and just kind of cook it for about 30 seconds. I'm going to even turn the burner off because there's enough residual heat. And then we're going to mix this in with the breadcrumbs, and then we'll get started making the meatballs. All right, I'm just going to scoop all of this in there. And then we're gonna add in the meat and start rolling meatballs. Now I did line a cookie sheet and my oven is preheating to 400 degrees. That is what the recipe called for. It actually said to line a cookie sheet with foil and then to spray it with non-stick spray. My aluminum foil is nowhere near the same size as my cookie sheet. Let me show you. So it's a really big cookie sheet because it actually said you needed 2. So I just grabbed this one, but my foil is like half the width of this. And I was like, well, that's not gonna work. So I just lined it with parchment paper. I think that'll be okay. And I'm still trying to decide if I should spray it or not. It says to spray the foil, but foil and parchment paper are different. Okay, we have our onions and our breadcrumbs. I've got my ground beef. I just need to pour it in there. This is ground beef that I purchased and then just repackaged here at home. I do that a lot. I pick it up when it's on sale and then repackage it and toss it in the deep freeze. All right, we're gonna mix all of this together. I'm gonna try to do it with a spoon because I just really want to. Okay, this is all mixed together. So I've got my cookie sheet right here and it's all ready to go. And then the recipe actually suggests using a scoop for these. So I'm going to get my smallest scoop, which is this one. I don't know how much it is. It doesn't say. It's just small. This is probably, I don't know, maybe 2 tablespoons, maybe. I'm going to scoop these out and then I will shape them after I've scooped them all out. All right, I've got these all laid out and I'm just gonna very gently roll them real quick. These are very soft. So I want to be careful to not tear them up, just kind of gently shape them. And what's great is they're all the same size, so they'll cook very evenly. The recipe was very specific to say leave space between them. I guess they brown nicely in the oven. I hope they do. I know a lot of recipes call for you to pan fry your meatballs first. So we'll see how this turns out. I think it's going to be delicious. It smells incredible. All right, so the meatballs are in the oven doing their thing. They've got to cook for about 15 more minutes or so. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on the sauce. Now, fair warning, this calls for a lot of butter. 6 tablespoons of butter. That's a lot. That is a whole lot. So definitely not a low-fat diet recipe, but with all that butter, I bet it's good. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all of this in there, and we'll let that start melting, and then we're gonna make a roux with some flour. Okay, my butter's really starting to melt, so I'm going to add in 1/3 cup of flour, and I'm going to start whisking. We don't want lumps and clumps. Once this is whisked together and it's cooked for just a minute, we are going to add in, I believe it is beef broth, but I should double check. All right, we're gonna let it turn just a little darker than this, and then we're gonna add in our beef broth. Let's see, it calls for both beef broth and chicken broth, but I'm going with just straight beef broth because I didn't even put the ground chicken in here. So, see, it says 14.5 ounces. I just, of course, have the stuff you mix. This stuff, which is fine because it actually calls for some of this extra in the recipe. So, very handy to have this. Okay, I've let this cook a few more minutes. It said to let it darken, and it has gotten a little bit darker. I'm afraid to let it go too far. Roux always make me nervous because I'm afraid I'm gonna burn them. I'm afraid to really let it go much further than this because once you burn it, you gotta start all over, and that's a lot of butter. Stir this together like so, and whisk. So as I'm reading through this recipe, I see that it calls for both cream and sour cream, and it's telling me to add them both now. However, it doesn't give me a measurement for how much cream to put in there, so I'm really uncertain. I'm gonna go ahead and add in my sour cream, and it says to do 3/4 cup. I'm gonna just kind of wing it. My husband does not like sour cream. I use it to make sauces sometimes, and it's fine, but I always try to go a little light on it just because I know he does not care for the flavor. So we're gonna go ahead and just stir that in. And now I guess I'm gonna just add in a little bit of heavy cream. It doesn't have a measurement on here. I've printed the recipe out, so maybe if you're looking at it online, it's different, but on the printout, it is not. So hopefully when I link this for y'all, you will have the measurement for that. I'm just gonna add in a couple of tablespoons of cream. Just like that. And we'll whisk that together. It is definitely thickening up nicely. If I feel like it gets too thick, I guess I'll add a little bit more in since we don't know exactly how much is supposed to be in there. This is so velvety smooth and creamy. I'm in love with this sauce already. All right, and now it says to go ahead and add in some Dijon mustard. This calls for, let's see, 1 teaspoon of Dijon, and I don't know if it was this week or last week, but I'm totally out of Dijon. What I do have is stone ground mustard, and that's what I am substituting. I think that's okay. I really do. I think as long as I'm not using like yellow mustard, we're all right. So that's about a teaspoon. We'll whisk that in. Then we need to add in some Worcestershire sauce. This calls for 1 teaspoon. Yeah, I think I'll probably do a little bit more than that just because I love this stuff so much. There we go. Okay, it calls for a tablespoon of sugar, and I'm currently out of sugar, but I do have Splenda, so that's what we're gonna use. I'm just gonna put in what I think is about the equivalent of a tablespoon, which was about 1.5 packets, and I will save the rest for my coffee later. Okay, let's see. We need to add a little bit of pepper to this, and I think that'll be perfect because I think it's just gonna look pretty. And the last thing that this recipe calls for is apple cider vinegar, and I forgot to get it out of the cabinet, and it's in the cabinet right behind y'all. So hold tight for a second while I get that out. Okay, I got the apple cider vinegar out, and it calls for 1 teaspoon, not much at all. We'll add that in. There we go. A tablespoon of soy sauce. I'm a little nervous about this because that beef base that I added in there is super duper salty. It does, I think it calls for extra. It does. 1 teaspoon of beef instant bouillon granules. I'm debating whether or not I will put that in. I think what I'm going to do is add the soy sauce and taste of it. And if it's not too salty, then I will go ahead and add in the beef base. I just know that that stuff is super, super, super salty. And I don't want this to be too salty for us to be able to eat. All right, so 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. I'd rather do without the beef base just because soy sauce has such a big, rich flavor. It adds something really nice to a dish. So I would rather include that if I have to pick between the two. Okay, I tasted of it and it's going to be just fine with the beef granules in there. It calls for a teaspoon of them. So I went ahead and added that in. I'm going to whisk it together. And then I am going to just set this to the side with a lid on it until those meatballs are finished. And typically you would serve this over some kind of noodle, like egg noodles or something. However, I forgot to buy some, so we will be eating ours over rice. But I will see you guys back here in just a minute when everything gets plated up. All right, friends, dinner is served. This is my oldest son's plate. He's starving, so I went ahead and threw a plate together for him. Got rice on the bottom and the meatballs, and I put that sauce on there. That sauce is just so velvety and creamy. I'm so impressed by it. It just looks incredible and it tastes so good. But this is what's for dinner tonight, Swedish meatballs. Okay, friends, that will do it for this week's What's for Dinner video. Like I said, 3 nights, 4 recipes, but they were all delicious. Next week, I will have a lot more recipes in my What's for Dinner video because it will be that extreme grocery budget challenge. I will be making a total of 84 meals for $50. Technically, that's 84 servings. That's just the wordage everybody uses here on YouTube, so I jumped on the bandwagon. It will serve a family of 4 for a full week. So stay tuned to see all the meals I came up with. I hope you guys will all be here next Sunday to check it out. Anyway, as usual, I hope you are all having a fantastic week. I am working on my grocery haul video that will come out Tuesday. Plus, I am hoping to get a Fun Food Friday video out this Friday. I have had some trouble with my computer. I had some video footage of a dessert I wanted to share, and I lost a lot of video footage, like a lot of it. Some of it I was able to recover, and some of it I have not been able to yet, but fingers crossed I can. I'm hoping I can get that dessert footage back, and I will be able to share my Fun Food Friday this week and show you guys this awesome dessert. It's one of my husband's favorites. I made it for him. Anyway, y'all have a wonderful week, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye, friends.